This is every hint and secret in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet we missed in the past. These are for multiple different regions and multiple different places, even outside the video games and different parts of Pokemon. So that's what we're going to be doing today, guys. First of all, the question of today. Here is today's featured comment. Thank you so much, I think, Millennial Z, for your featured comment. Your favorite is Fuecoco. Our new question of today, guys, is what game are you buying? Are you going to be getting Pokemon Scarlet or Pokemon Violet, or are you getting both? Let us know in the comment section down below for a chance to be featured. Either way, grab yourself a beverage and let's go. So as you guys may have noticed, I've changed the colors of our lights in the back also to fit with the Scarlet and the Violet colors, but nonetheless, the first one here is from Crafty Army on Twitter, who discovered that the fountain and mansion we see in the Scarlet and Violet trailer looks very similar to the fountain that we saw in the mock-up and concept art from Pokemon Sun and Moon's reveal trailer back in like 2016. Now, of course, the Pokemon in this concept art in the fountain was a Horsey, and this was also used for the Song Hotel in the games, but it looks like so familiar and similar to what we saw in the recent Scarlet and Violet trailer that it's kind of hard to not assume that this ID was sort of reused in the future now for Scarlet and Violet instead as well. But this is just one of the less close hints that we have. This is just a possible, like, connection here, but this one is a bit further away from the other ones we're going to talk about, which we're going to go to now. Then we have the fact that Junichi Masuda as well as Omori, the two of the top guys over at Game Freak who are always involved with making the new generations, actually have visited Spain and Portugal at multiple different occasions, including also France back in 2014, and throughout 2017 Masuda went to Spain and whatnot, and of course Omori also went there throughout 2016. Masuda even stated a while back that he wanted to make a region about Spain at one point. We already know that his sightseeing in France led us to Generation 6 and Pokemon X and Y, so what would stop us from assuming that he also used his trips in Spain and Portugal as a way to gather information, IDs, and concepts and whatnot for a future Pokemon region? In this case, a Pokemon region based in Spain and Portugal for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet in particular. Next, we got a long one, but there are multiple characters in the past games that have spoken or referenced the Spanish or Portuguese languages, or just Latin-speaking languages in general. We have a challenger, Diane, who will speak some Spanish before the Stow on side is reached. When you battle her, she will say muy dramático, fantástico after being defeated, which more or less just means very dramatic and fantastic. She isn't the only one, however, as we also have the game director Junichi Masuda himself saying ciao in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Once again, another hint towards the Spanish and Latin speaking languages, as ciao means goodbye in Spanish, but I should also point out that this is used in multiple languages, including my own Bosnian language, which I speak. We also say ciao as a goodbye, and or other people use ciao as hello, but basically it's a word that's used in the Latin speaking languages. But nonetheless, Masuda loves Spain and Portugal, so it wouldn't be surprising if he inserted this little hint for Scarlet and Violet by having himself essentially saying it. Then there's also Ryuki, who said that he came all the way across the sea to Alola to battle the gym there, but interestingly about him, he says he comes across the sea. Well, guess what? Alola is based on Hawaii, and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are based most likely on Spain in this case, and they are both literally across the sea from each other. You can see right here on the map, kind of mapped it out, animated it out, so you can see the distance literally, quite literally between them, but that's not the only thing. If you actually look at the outfit that he's wearing, ignoring the whole guitar, because there is a connection there too, he could be a guitar player from Spain, as that's a very popular thing there, but that's besides the point. His actual outfit matches perfectly with the colors of the Pokemon Scarlet logo and the Spanish flag, being the yellow and orangish colors that he's wearing and reddish colors that look scarlet colored. So there you go, essentially a direct connection once again. And another character who, thanks to Space Love 101 on Reddit, we know has colors similar to the Spanish flag. We also know that Ash Ketchum himself in the Pokemon movie The Power of Us, which was released a long time ago now, we already can see in this area that the whole region that he was in at this point seemed very similar to some version of Spain or some island of Spain, and the color on Ash's outfit has the color pattern of the Spanish flag on it as well. Again, clearly another Spanish flag hint. There's a lot of those in here. Speaking of Ash and the actual Pokemon anime, there is another hint found by Kuro Blitz over on Twitter. By the way, shout out to my man for finding this, but he found that it basically in one of the episodes from, I think, episode 13, there is essentially this moment where the characters are at some sort of lighthouse. Might be Bill's lighthouse, but nonetheless, it's based off of Portugal's Cabo da Roca, which basically is like a place, and Team Rocket end up here. This is like a depiction of the most extreme point of Europe, where the land ends and the sea begins, and they literally give exactly that within the anime, so they hinted it already back then, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. This could also be a potential hint, as suggested to me by Enthusiastic Eevee, which is that Bandai Namco could actually be involved in the development of Scarlet and Violet, and this is because the actual characters you see in this game, the NPCs and the player character models, have the same art style as the new Pokemon Snap game, which was made by Bandai Namco, and that game is coming out, like, this game is coming out way quicker than you could have assumed, so, you know, it could possibly be that this original Pokemon Snap game that we just got, like, you know, not too long ago, could have been another hint as to what's coming, and possibly Bandai Namco could be involved in the development here, or could have given resources over, because the game that we're seeing here with Scarlet and Violet looks far better graphically. Like, it's the best looking, graphically speaking, game of Pokemon we've had ever in the mainline series, and looks oddly similar to new Pokemon Snap, especially the character models. So shout out to Enthusiastic Eevee, and do you guys think that this is a possible hint as well as to what was to come, or do you also think that this may have been like a good of an indication that Bandai Namco might be involved in development? Pokemon Legends Arceus as a game may contain a hint in it as well, as discovered by Loxton. We know that Generation 9 is based in Spain, we already know that, all of us. We also know that mythical Pokemon, or even general Pokemon in previous games, can always sort of hint towards the future in one way or shape, and the previous games often do this with little hints. And in this case, we might have Legends Arceus with a hint of Anamoris as well as Ursaluna, both of whom have Latin sounding names, more Ursaluna in this case, but on top of that, the symbol of Madrid is a bear, and then there's also the fact that Anamoris is essentially a genie or a jinn, a form of creature that comes from the Muslim world, an Arab-speaking world, which, by the way, Spain was ruled by for over 1,000 years, leaving behind some sort of influences. So in this case, the whole genie thing we got going on, especially with Anamoris in Pokemon Legends Arceus, might have been a direct hint to what the next thing might be. Of course, it isn't really a mythical, it is a legendary, which is a bit different, but nonetheless, it is seemingly a direct hint. And Ursaluna, again, Luna being the name for the moon in Spanish, it just makes a lot of sense. And of course, Anamoris being a genie, and again, genies and all that do come from the Arab-speaking world and from the Islamic world, which of course were ruling that part of Spain and just Spain in general for 1,000 years. Speaking of previous generations and Loxton, well, basically he made the discovery that the only place in Europe that has monkeys in it is Gibraltar, which is a small nation, actually a peninsula at the bottom of Spain. His discovery was made when exploring the fact that mythical Pokemon always are a way to foreshadow the coming generations. And when it comes to monkeys, the only place that has monkeys in all of Europe is Gibraltar. However, Gibraltar was unlikely to get a game based on it in particular, but Gibraltar does have a long history with Spain itself, and on Gibraltar you can find the Barbary macaques, which are basically the only monkey species you will find in Europe itself. The only place that has monkeys within Europe, and I think some people say they're a little bit aggressive, but I don't really know. But nonetheless, though, these guys are protective. They were like kind of a protective type of monkey, very similar to, well, the way Zarude is, right? It's kind of similar in design and everything. So this must have been where they hinted at. But of course, Gibraltar may be featured as some sort of island area within the Scarlet and Violet games in one way or shape, as we're getting both Portugal and Spain in this game. Then we have quite a funny one, but the names Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet were already trademarked back in 2008 by Game Freak and the Pokemon Company, meaning they had plans to use the names all along. Like, it just made total sense for them to trademark it all the way back then, because they already knew back then they wanted to at some point use those names. And there you go, we've essentially had these names trademarked for well over a decade. That's a hint all the way a decade back in time, even more than a decade. It's been so long at this point since then, it's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, for like the past 10 years, we could have essentially known there was a Pokemon game coming along the way that might have had this name. And this also means that if there are other trademarks, if we go back to other Pokemon trademarks, there is a chance those names may reappear in the future as well, so we'll have to stay tuned on that. Next, we have the Van Gogh painting. This one is known as the Starry Night, and is a painting that was made by the Dutch painter in 1889 while he was in an insane asylum in Saint-Rémy de Provence, which is an area located in southern France, close to Spain, sort of. This painting makes sort of an appearance in the games in Pokemon Brilliant Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, where we can see the painting showing up in one way or shape. Is this another hint? Well, you tell me what you guys think about this. And next we have a hint that was found by DDD Hero over on the PokeLeaks Reddit, who discovered that in the Hotel Aeonia in Chichester, within Pokemon Sword and Shield, there is a portion in the hotel where by the lobby it has side rooms which are sort of roped off from you being able to access them. But if you look at the wallpaper, there is actually one with oranges and grapes on it, which is exactly what has been hinted in the trailer for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet multiple times. As we see in the trailer, they show two shields, one with oranges and one with grapes on the other side, representing the different sort of games and sort of seemingly potentially different schools or different evil teams or different houses, whatever you want to call it, or kingdoms, whatever you want to say. But there's two different ones. And also next to the player's house, it features a orange tree, and on top of that, your player outfit will, actually change in color depending on which game you are playing, and the colors would match up better with Scarlet Orange or Violet Purple. Again, a direct hint in Sword and Shield to Scarlet and Violet. But it was also discovered by DDD Hero that in BDSP in Twin Leaf Town, there are flowers with different colors on them near the exit to Route 201. But these are not colored the same way they used to be back in, Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, but instead use the colors of orange and purple again, or I guess scarlet and purple, or Scarlet and Violet, jeez, I don't even know. But either way, this is again possibly hinting towards directly Pokemon Scarlet and Violet in this case. So there you go, another possible hint that we might be looking at. And then we also have Poke Portuga, who mentioned in a tweet that during an interview, Masuda, after visiting in Portugal, he kind of had this idea of maybe basing a Pokemon, specifically in this case, basing a Pokemon on a rooster from the rooster from Barcelos, which it could basically be hinting at ourselves getting a new Pokemon, a whole new Pokemon based on a rooster of sorts coming down the line. So we'll have to wait and see if there is a rooster Pokemon in this game, but if this is true, then there you go. So that's the video, ladies and gents. Make sure to drop a like down below, answer our question of today for a chance to be featured, and I will see you all in the next one.